What was the significance of having the Constitution ratified by the people in special conventions instead of by state legislatures? And how would you compare today's debates over the Constitution with those that range widely among Americans during the ratification period? Go.
The ratification debates are still our most powerful window into the minds of the founders, and thus the intention of our Constitution. Therefore, we agree with Paul A. Meyer.
These debates, which raised in newspapers, taverns, and actual state ratifying conventions, involved citizens from all sections of society. They were significant for three reasons.
First, the ratification debates had the longest lasting after effects. In newspapers and at the state conventions, citizens debated the issues of federalism, presidential powers, the vote of the judiciary, the Bill of Rights, the separation of powers, and the powers of Congress.
Even though times have changed, we still debate these topics today. In the 1700s, the anti-federalists argued that the power of the president would lead to tyranny, and the checks and balances would not effectively limit federal power or prevent abuse. Although Congress passed the War Powers Act in 1973, presidents still engage in combat without the permission of Congress and have not been limited in their powers. Today, new technologies like unmanned drones make this particularly dangerous.
Second, the Supreme Court still uses the records of these debates, especially the Federalist Papers, to help them interpret the Constitution today. In Prince versus United States, Justice Scalia justified federal government's power to require officials to enforce federal law through several pages of analysis of Federalist 27, 36, 44, and 45.
Third, these debates were not just about politics. They were about who we were as a people and what kind of nation we would become. As Hamilton states in Federalist 1, we were the first people to create good government through reflection and choice. These debates and the longevity of the Constitution they produced proved that everyday people were capable of coming together to create a more perfect union through deliberation and debate.
It was this, the fact that everyday people had the power to deliberate, debate, and choose the Constitution for themselves that made the Constitution unique. Once written, the Constitution was submitted to special conventions in each state, where citizens, not state legislators, voted to ratify it.
The significance of having the Constitution ratified by the people was that it showed the idea of a social contract. We, the people, came together to ordain and establish a new government according to the procedures set up in Article 7, which ensured that this document would be based on the agreement of the people themselves.
Allowing the people to vote on ratifying the Constitution was not a new concept. We previously saw it in the creation of the state constitutions. However, other than in America, the creation of a new government by the people had never been seen anywhere else across the globe, which made the state ratifying convention a significant new precedent for the world to see.
As we mentioned earlier, today's debates over the Constitution are centered on many of the same topics that were debated in the ratification period. We can boil these debates down to one big question. What are the limits of government power?
We debate whether or not Congress can require all Americans to purchase health insurance.
We debate whether or not government can limit our right to own a gun, which is protected by the Second Amendment.
We debate whether the 10th Amendment gives states the power to control issues ranging from marriage to marijuana.
We debate the ways Congress should use its power to tax and borrow money, which is granted in Article 1, Section 8.
We debate whether or not the president has become too powerful.
Although our Constitution creates a government that is both empowered and limited, the exact boundaries of those powers and limits have been a source of disagreement from 1787 to today.
However, the way we express our disagreements have changed drastically. While the debates of the ratification period manifested themselves in complex essays based on deep understanding of political theory, philosophy, and history, today's debates take place in 10-second cable news, 10-second cable news sound bites, and 140-character Twitter posts.
Okay, we talked about the ratification debates and all, but let's look at a couple of other debates that we've had in this country and compare it with the ratification debates. For example, the debate over slavery, the pre- and post-Civil War debate on that, civil rights and current debates.
The reason why the ratification debates are the greatest ones are because they're the fundamental debates that would lead to the issues that we will later face on in the country. As we see, during the time of the ratification debates, only white male property owners were considered, were allowed to vote, and they were called the people. They were allowed were called citizens, and later on during the creation of this country, and later on as we got older and became a greater nation, more questions started to rise as who counted as a citizen, and it was just a fundamental issue.
I want to agree with my colleague Victor. If you compare like the ratification debates to debates over slavery, it seems though like the ratification debates are more relevant because they had like we said in our statement, they had the long lasting after effect on us, like they impacted our Constitution. Not saying that slavery wouldn't have a long lasting after effect, but it's not really an issue that we really need to focus on today. Nobody's enslaved us, so. But the Constitution, like that's something we can debate over. Like we're still debating over that today, so it's really relevant. Like slavery's not relevant anymore.
I have a question for you. I want you to think about the phrases exchange of opinion and probing public debate. Are they different? Are they the same? How would you define them, and what's the benefit of each? Yes, exchange of opinions
Okay.
and probing public debate. What's the difference? Are these similar?
The same or
Different?
I believe that those two phrases are similar. And as you said in the first phrase, exchanging, that's what basically a debate is. You're basically exchanging opinions and thoughts. And as we see in many of the presidential debates, that they both have the same beliefs, but they just believe that they can do it better than the other candidate.
I like to disagree with my colleague. I think they're different. When you exchange opinions, you don't want someone to be influenced by your decision. Unlike in a debate, you really want the opponent to feel that you won, that your opinion is stronger than the other ones, and that's what happened in the ratification debates. It was the anti-federalists versus the federalists, and whether we will, ratify the Constitution or we wouldn't.
Is one more inclined to result in an achievement or a product as opposed to just an exchange of conversation? Does one lead somewhere?
Well, we can see that the ratification debates led to an achievement. We created a Constitution that we still use today, and we debate about issues.
And anything in the Constitution is just a dumb idea. Like, how did they compromise on that? Any just really dumb idea. You kind of portray the Constitution as all that in a bag of chips, but is there anything that's just dumb?
Well, it may not be necessarily dumb.
All right, maybe I overstated the case.
Irrelevant, yes, but not dumb. I mean, there's some stuff that's maybe in our Constitution that may not, like I said, apply to today because times have changed, and some things in our Constitution, like, aren't changed.